last week's game. How have you seen your team respond since Sunday?
Yeah, I think important part of that response is doing the things we need to do for our final exams, getting away from it for a little bit. We did have a week break in the game, so I think there's such a thing during the season as you've got to have time to have tremendous focus. You've got to have time where you take your mindset away from basketball. And we had final exams. Our guys did a great job with that this week from all indications, and I think also getting their bodies recovered. I think we had a lot of banged up bodies on Sunday against Eastern Illinois. Guys that were sore, guys that weren't moving as well. So I think as much as getting back to the practice court, it's getting away from it, getting your bodies feeling right, and then getting back in your routine.
How is the overall health and Dom and anybody else?
Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, we're in a good spot. I think played a practice today, so we'll continue to evaluate his ankle. But it seems like we would expect him to be available on Sunday, and we'll just see how that continues to evolve over the next couple of days. But he's made tremendous progress from where he was 4 or 5 days ago.
How important is this time of the year where you guys get extended practice opportunity between games?
Yeah, I think the practice part is important, and I also think, like I mentioned earlier, this is a long season, right? It spans over, whatever it is, 5.5 months, and it would be unrealistic to say every single day is going to be your 10 out of 10. So we've got to pick our spots. We got to pick our moments. We got to find times to get rest. Certainly, we have to have a humility and understanding that the practice court and getting better, how essential that is, because I think everything that we've been fortunate to do up to this point, we've got a lot in front of us, and in order to tackle that the right way, we've got to get better. So I think it's a maturity and a mindset of how you approach practice and how you look at it, and you see it as this is an opportunity to improve outside of this is something we have to do. I think it's important that you look at it as get to do as opposed to have to.
Blake Buchanan's ability to start a fast break with an overhand pass after a rebound, is that something that you identified and thought, man, we need that, or is that something you guys have asked him to do a little bit more?
I just think Blake's, he's got a tremendous feel for the game, right? He's a really good passer. He has a high level of skill. He sees plays a step ahead. And so whether it's operating in 5 out on the perimeter, whether it's after a rebound, whether it's on the interior, he just takes such a great pride in making the right play, and his high basketball IQ and intelligence allows him to read those plays early. So I think that's something that he has ingrained. We're just continuing to try to elevate his confidence and letting him know our belief in him and our desire for him to continue to make plays that way.
What are some things you've challenged the team on in this last 2-game non-conference stretch?
Well, I think for us, our identity and playing our identity, obviously we talk all the time about the ball pressure, generating turnovers, scoring off our defense. I think being on the offensive glass, getting second chance points. There was a stretch, a few weeks back where we were consistently getting 14, 15, 16, 17 offensive rebounds, a commitment on the offensive glass, and then getting second chance points is going to be so important. And then offensively, we've had some great moments, some great games, and we've been really good. It's about continuing to reattack the paint, continue to be aggressive, continue to try to score at the rim and the foul line, and then take the threes that present themselves. I think there'll be when you look at our team and we get those threes, we make them, and those are the ones that we've really got to be on the hunt for.
What have you seen from J. Jeff in terms of his consistency this year versus last year?
Yeah, I think if you're J. Jeff, you're in such a high-ranking leadership role, and all eyes are always on you. And there's so many things he does to impact winning. I think for anybody, when you watch him play, you could say, well, we expect him to do everything all the time at a 10 out of 10. So basically, not even be a human, right? To be above that. And so, look, every night out, the guy he leads, he makes great decisions, he rebounds. He scores the ball. He finds his way, to the rim. He just does so many things to impact winning. And when you look at it over the 11 games we've had thus far, every single game there's a consistent level of production. And many times you look at the stat sheet after and had no idea that all the things he accomplished, and that doesn't even include the things that don't show up. So love to see that consistency. He knows how important he is to us. He knows how important his leadership. And then every night out that he gives everything that he has to be at his best, recognizing that it's not going to be perfect.
Is that the differentiator between really good and great, being able to do that? And then, like you said, through 11 games and then 35 plus?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, right? It's the consistency and the consistency of those habits. We understand for everybody there's going to be a night maybe your shot doesn't fall, or maybe you go to the foul line and don't make as many as you'd like, or there's a turnover that you're not pleased with. But like, it's the consistency to come back and be every possession, take it one possession at a time. And how can I impact winning? How can I lead? How can I do those things? Because when he does those, which he's proven this year, right? Like it takes us to a whole nother level. And when his teammates see his level of confidence and the fun that he's having, the excitement he has, they follow along and they're right there with him. So I think that's the key to everything, is having a mindset of consistency. For us, that starts with the habits and the practice habits, and then playing to the level of those habits every single night, not just certain games.
How much has Taman epitomized the term urgency in his last season? And how much does he also prove the deal where you got to stick your daily habits all the time, but at times, as you said, you got to know when to dial some stuff back a little bit, because you can't be 10 out of 10 all the time.
Yeah, I think like good, bad, and different. Taman played all year last year injured, not hurt, injured in so many ways. Then comes into the season and he's out for our 2 exhibition games. And I think that really mentally will put you in a place to say, I know this isn't a guarantee. I know these opportunities aren't promised and guaranteed in front of me. So each one of them is so precious and so important, and I'm going to treat it exactly like that. So I think the urgency he started the season with was phenomenal. And then you see the urgency of how he does everything: guard the ball, make plays, make shots, get steals, do all these things to make us better. So I think that urgency is the character. It's his last year. He's had it taken away. He's had to play hurt, injured, all these things over time. And so now we want to do a great job making sure his mind and his body and his game and everything lines up so he can have the amazing senior year that we know he deserves to have.
How important are these 2 last non-conference games for guys like Jamarian Bateman and Dom Plata, who are certainly in your rotation, but certainly probably want to grow their role and have as big of an opportunity as they can have?
Yeah, I think, when the game presents itself, obviously our focus is what does it take to win the game? What wins the game in the moment? We're going to continue to play the guys that we feel like give us the best chance to win in that moment. Certainly, it benefits your team when you have depth and guys off the bench come in. You feel like you get better when you sub, or they elevate their teammates and themselves. At the same time, we're playing this thing to win every possession within the realm of that game. So the next opportunity is up on Sunday, and we're highly competitive to, play the guys and be in the moment to win that possession, win that game, win that moment, and just take it from there.
Coach, what did you learn last year when you reached number 2 and started to get everybody's best shot? And how do you maybe take that into this year with the returners?
I think a few things with last year. I mean, like, obviously, the more higher you're ranked and the more attention, the more potential for distractions, right? The more pressure players can feel, the more people around you can start having agendas, the more, media, outside people want to, say that you should win the game by this much or it should go that way, and that's just not how it works. So you have to have great foundational habits, great team chemistry, belief, trust, to just stay focused. The main thing's the main thing. Obviously for us last year, when we got to that point, we also started to have some injuries and things that disrupted us. We already talked about how Taman was hurt, but now, after we beat Kansas, Milan goes down. And that's not a small thing, right? Like, so he's not available for the Kansas game. Then he's out, I believe he missed 7 games or 8 games. So now you're taking a guy that's extremely impactful, and now you kind of have to regroup and figure out, your winning formula. So I do think staying healthy is important. Guys doing what they need to do in terms of choices away from the court to feel great, to hydrate, to sleep, and do all those things, because everything, when you have it going well, everything is so important, and it's harder and it's a bigger challenge, and it takes greater focus and commitment to the team and what's in front of you to not allow anything on the outside to distract you. So I think if you say, what have we learned? We knew we were highly attentive to all those things. We probably talk about them more now with our guys, of what might come at you, what other people might say, and how we're going to handle that and stay focused on what we need to do.
How do you stay healthy? Is it those off-the-court choices that factor in?
I mean, we take pride in, and again, our training staff and strength and conditioning medical team does an awesome job, but we take a lot of pride in, building our habits in June, building our habits in the fall, building our habits in the spring, building our habits through practice, and not feeling like we have to over-practice when we get into conference play, feeling like there's a necessary amount of this is how long practice needs to be. It has to be highly intense. It has to be game-like, but that doesn't mean we have to go for 3 hours. That doesn't mean we have to grind them into the ground. And so I think that's that balancing act of if you play the style of basketball that we play and it's going to be physical and it's going to be aggressive and it's going to be competitive, you don't just show up and do that in the game. You have to earn it in practice. At the same time, for your body and your mind to feel at your absolute best on the day or the night of the game, there's a necessary amount of rest and recovery that you also need. So it's being great at having an intentional plan, executing that plan, and not deviating from the plan based on win, loss, played well, didn't play well, just staying consistent with those habits.
Has your approach to the amount of time you guys spend practicing changed at all, maybe since your first year to where you guys are now?
Not really. I mean, truthfully, we've probably practiced, 90 minutes is usually our deal. And that's been our deal, whether it was year one or now. We've had a belief of, there's a necessary amount and a way to attack it. And we haven't looked at it like we used to over practice, so now we don't. We haven't looked at it like we didn't do this well and now we've done it better. We continue to evaluate in real time, like what we think is best. And we've maintained a very consistent way of doing things. I also think it's important for the players to understand what's coming at them, how their body's going to feel, that you stay in a routine, that it's not extremely different, that it's pretty regimented and consistent. So we've maintained, for the most part, that same level of consistency over the time we've been here and how we go about practice.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.